All right, so this video will talk about the establishment of a parole board that will be required to evaluate the potential for rehabilitation in these offenders. A serial mass murderer that has killed, a large number of people. Well, can they be rehabilitated? That's not the question of today's video. You can make your own opinion about that, but the establishment of a parole board will be required to ensure what the administration of justice to be carried out. So the parole will be looking at these cases after a period of parole ineligibility. So that means that if the parole board, let's say for example, denies the application, that person will remain in the prison for life, right? That means they will die inside of the prison walls after the 25 years. So that is not a 25-year sentence. You will not be automatically granted parole. And that means that the parole board will look at any type of change in your circumstances or mindset, or they will hear the application and let's just say that if I was on the parole board, it would certainly be biased, because I am of the opinion that this offender should not be granted parole. But that's why I'm not going to be on the parole board. A parole board should be established. So let's get into this. So parole board establishment. A dedicated parole board should be formed to evaluate parole applications with the highest level of scrutiny and integrity. Strict eligibility criteria. So parole should not be granted based on time served alone, okay, but rather a fundamental transformation in the offender's character, actions, and mindset. So you can't say, well, I served 25 years, I should be granted for parole. No, that is not the criteria. Right? There's a strict criteria, and it certainly is not the time served. So let's make no mistake. All right, the sentence is life, let's say, and let's say for example the offender were to get out and violate their parole, they would go back to the prison and all this stuff. I think anybody that has any basic knowledge of how parole works will understand that. So demonstrated rehabilitation. So the offender must show undeniable proof of moral and physiological reform, supported by independent assessments. So there should be these assessors that will come and talk to these offenders and see if these abortionists have actually a change of heart and mindset, or a change of heart and mindset. A complete renunciation of past actions, along with an acknowledgement of wrongdoing and commitment to preventing similar harm, must be evidence. Only after 25 years. Only after 25 years. That is the amount of time that will be removed from your life. I mean, this punishment is severe. It's a 25-year prison sentence, right? So you cannot have any kind of life. You must be separated from society for 25 years. That is only after, and maybe after 25 years, maybe people will have a change of heart or mindset. But make no mistake, the full 25-year time period must be served prior to being eligible to apply for parole. It's not like after 2 years or 10 years or even 15 or 20 years. No, it's a full 25-year period of time that you must, not me, not you, I'm sure you did not kill any children, but the offender must serve prior to being eligible to apply. And even if you apply, as we talked about, it doesn't mean that you'll get it. Even if you change your heart and mind, it doesn't mean that you'll get it. Even if you meet all the eligibility criteria, it doesn't mean that you will get it. Okay, that's really important to remember. The parole board is not a guaranteed. It's not a roll of the dice, but let's just leave it at that. So, reparations to society. Offenders seeking parole must make meaningful contributions towards repairing the damage caused by their actions, whether through education, advocacy, and other means. Drastic change in circumstances. Parole may only be considered if extraordinary circumstances arise, such as terminal illness, advanced age, or a shift in societal context that fundamentally alters the nature of their confinement. Transparency in parole hearings. All hearings should be public, with victims, legal experts, and community representatives having the right to voice concerns or opposition. Okay, so transparency, very, very important. No automatic parole. Life sentences with parole ineligibility must remain firm unless the offender meets the highest standards of reformation and restitution. Balancing mercy and justice. While justice must be served, a parole system rooted in fairness ensures that those who have genuinely changed are not kept incarcerated without cause. Now, that is fair. That is a fair point, but it's also fair to say that let's say, for example, the person has advanced age, 80 or even 90 or years old or so, has a type of illness, has a change in mindset, has established, a written a book. Let's say, for example, they wrote a book about how their life's work was, they were duped by the system and all this stuff. That does not mean that they are granted parole. That does not mean they can, have advocacy and make, they could be genuinely remorseful and all this stuff. And that does not grant, there's no criteria that will secure, if you will, parole. Parole is granted only. It's not 100% assured that you'll be that the offender will be granted parole, if you know what I mean. So it could be there's no, again, it's not a roll of the dice. It's not 100% sure. Parole is a must be determined at that time with the evidence that is given at that parole hearing. All right, so that's really important to remember. So the parole board will be important to establish for the offenders, the abortionists that have killed a number of children, including the birth control pill. So it's very important to remember that the birth control pill does not prevent ovulation. It does not prevent the conception. Okay, so the conceived baby will be fully viable. There's a DNA structure that is unique, 50% of the father and 50% of the mother, and the baby is alive. And you can never take away that humanity. You can never, no matter how much these abortionists will kill and kill and kill, they can never take away the humanity and viability of that child. That our own offspring, they will try to destroy the society, like clipping the wings of a bird. I mean, this is just removing the future's promise and potential. It's quite egregious. This crime is well, I mean, it's the number one most egregious, most severe. Unimaginable, unthinkable. It shocks the conscience. This is the most severe crime in the history of humanity. It's unprecedented. The scale of deaths is, the only way that they can try to justify that is to try to dehumanize the baby. The baby is a boy or a girl. They are being killed, but we know better, and we are not savages. So that's why we are making this series of videos. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.